everybody. Welcome to the Yellow Horse Revolution. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Yellow Horse Revolution podcast. And I'm very excited with my next guest that is honoring me with her presence. It's Tara Elizabeth, all the way from South Korea. And she is kind of a sensation in Korea. She has been on national television. And she is an amazing person doing amazing work for horse welfare in South Korea. And she's an ambassador for the Yellow Horse Revolution. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome her to the podcast. And as you can tell, I'm all excited. So welcome, Tara. Welcome. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me here. So exciting.
Good. Well, then we shall get on with the podcast, and I'm going to read my first question. I print them out because I don't have brain power enough to remember them. So I'm going to just read up the first question here. Okay, so the first question is, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, how you came to be where you are, and how you came to be a horse rescuer, trainer, and fighting for horse welfare.
Okay, so my name is Tara. I'm an American. I've been living in South Korea for the past 15 years. I can't believe that already. Yeah, it's been a long time. Went fast. My main focus with my work is on some positive reinforcement, play-based training and enrichment. And so, you know, horses have been in my blood, my passion for as long as I can remember. I don't have a memory without horses, but I don't come from a horsey family. So, I have a little bit untraditional. I didn't grow up with horses, but I had riding lessons on and off when I was younger, mostly off, but it wasn't enough for me. I needed to get more horse. So I used to go around and do anything I could. I'd find a barn, I'd find horses and just hang out, offer to help. I worked in a rehabilitation riding center for disabled children for a while, just anything to get my horse fix. And so, I've spent more time on the ground with them than riding them growing up. And I think that actually really shaped me how I became now, because to this day, I spend more time on the ground than riding horses, and it's exactly where I want to be. So, as life goes, there was a long break from horses for a while when I got into university and, stuff happens. And then I moved to Korea and I figured that's it. I don't really think horses will be part of my life here because, a lot of other things going on. But I always still had that passion and I missed them. So one day, randomly, I learned the word for horse riding in Korean and decided to look it up. And it shocked me. There was many places near me. So I got some courage and decided to go visit a center and see if I could get involved again with horses. And when I arrived there, it was shocking. I guess shocking would be the best word for me. I was so excited, yay, horses, I'm gonna go see them. But when I arrived, my jaw dropped. There's so many different things. The farm itself was, I want to say, maybe not even a half acre in total space. And they had about 15 horses living there. 24/7 stalls and zero turnout, non-existent. And to me, I kept looking where is the rest? Is that the field over there? Is that part of this? But so okay. And then just the way that the program was run was so alien to me. You show up, they present you with a fully tacked horse, you get on, you ride around a little bit, you get off, and you go home. The end. There's no interaction with the horses outside of riding. And growing up, we were always taught that's the most important thing, is taking care of the horse, and riding is privilege, not a right. And here, people don't have any interaction. It was just, hello, here's a horse, la la la, goodbye, see you next week. And like it felt so wrong to me. But, different culture. I tried to be open.
Mhm.
The horses were very skinny also. And that bothered me. But, I'm still trying to stay open-minded here. And I'm thinking like, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but, it'd been a while since I'd been around horses. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I having a mistake here, but no. And I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself at that point either to say much, which, we make our mistakes. And just the longer I stayed there, like, I just, how to say it properly? I witnessed more and more things that just bothered me. And anytime I would try to like bring it up, it was always, oh, you just don't understand how it works here. And, you're just, you're an outsider anyway, because you're not from here. You don't know. And my absolute favorite was horses are different in Korea. What? No, horses in every country. But no, horse is different in Korea was like strongly told to me. And, after a while, when people are continuously telling you that you're the crazy one, you start to question, maybe I am the crazy one. Maybe it is me who's wrong. And but it just kept growing in me that this is bothering me. This is bothering me. But I couldn't put my finger totally on everything that was bothering me, but there was so much going on. I was like, this can't be the way it is here. And then, you know, everything, absolutely everything changed for me when Nike came into the picture. And I, oh, it's hard. It's hard to remember this of him, but he was just 5 years old at the time when I met him. Recently off the track, like within that year, he had retired. And he was just the saddest thing I'd ever seen in my life. His eyes were just full of pain and just lifeless and just dead. He's just given up on his life. 5 year old, beautiful thing, just done.
Imagine being retired while you're not even an adult yet.
Baby, he's a baby. And
Yeah.
he just like a grandfather, this old man who just couldn't be bothered. And, he's not small. He's about 16'3", and he is just a skeleton. Like there wasn't an ounce of fat on this horse's body, no muscle. He just covered 95% of his body was covered in skin disease and open wounds, like sores, not wounds, sores, swollen legs, bad feet, just my heart just broke. And I'm looking at this creature, and he's still the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And like, just, I needed to do something for him. I needed him. He needed me. We needed each other, I think. And he just hated people. Like it's shocking. It's really hard to remember these days now because he hated people. Like you couldn't touch him. I think I have a photo of like the day I got him, and there's me, yay, I got my horse, my dream come true. And he's just like, come near me, human. But at that time, I had no idea how much this one horse is going to absolutely turn my life upside down and change it for the better. But I promised to him that I was going to make his life better. I had no idea how. I was way in over my head, but there was like a fire that was lit because of him. And I just knew I have to do something. I have to do something for him, and I have to do something for the others. I can't just sit here and watch this anymore. I can't. It's done. Like, even if I can only make the smallest change in their life, I need to do something. And that's kind of like what started this whole journey. Like, thanks to Nike.
Yeah. I think it's an amazing story, and I think you're so brave for doing that because when you're a foreigner, it is expected of you to sort of, respect the culture, and you should. I mean,
Yeah,
nobody is
absolutely.
questioning that. But there's a difference between culture, I guess, and cruelty. And
Yes.
when you see suffering from the innocent, whether humans or children or animals, I think it is our duty to speak up. And you can still then respect the culture, but you do not have to accept cruelty. And I think you did that so beautifully, and you're already opening so many eyes in Korea and outside Korea. So yeah, I'm really excited to offering you this platform, and I hope more and more people in Korea and outside Korea will open their eyes to the suffering that many people don't see. I mean, they don't mean to be cruel. They're not seeing it, and you are opening so many eyes, and you're just Nike's voice, and all the Nikes in the world that have gone through it are going through it, and with each horse saved, you save so many others because you're opening so many eyes, and yeah, I think this is very exciting, and it's a wave we're riding here, a yellow wave. Oh, and now I'm talking. You should be talking. So
Oh,
sorry.
wow. Great, but like I totally agree with you. Like it's really hard to be like, the outsider, and you have to be so careful not to step on the toes. Like I love Korea. I love the people I meet here. I think Koreans are warm and wonderful, but there are problems, and it's easy to be dismissed as like, well, if you don't like it, go to your country, or you think something, but wrong is wrong. And like, I can understand, and we should be open that not everything can be perfect and not everything can be exactly in this dream scenario, but it doesn't mean we should be hurting them or being cruel or ignorant. Like it's time to like learn, it's time to grow, it's time to move on. Like no more Nikes this way. And I've
Exactly.
seen so many. Like it's just
Yeah.
hard.
And that's not just Korea. I mean, it's all the world, and especially in the developed countries where horses have given us so much for 6,000 years, and we are now able to give back to them, and we're still not. That just
We
blows my mind.
I have no words for it. I try, but I cannot.
No.
Like, I was listening to your recent interview with Egypt, the
Yeah.
woman in Egypt, and like, gosh, she's an angel. Like what she's doing, I can't even imagine. Like, and it made me think, like, we don't have it that bad here. And then I thought more about it, but Korea is not a poor country.
No.
There's no excuse. We're developed here. This is not like it's a different situation. Like it's horrible what's happened in Egypt as well, and that's just awful, but like you can see where it's coming from. But here there's money. And the horse industry is expensive here, like brutally expensive. There's no excuse. Like just none.
No, there's none. And that's also what Joke said from Egypt about situation for the rescue from Petra in the Netherlands, that it's mind-blowing that there has to be a rescue in a country like the Netherlands. That shouldn't have to be there. I mean, the people in Egypt, a lot of them don't even have food for themselves, let alone feed their horses. And she also explained that the ones that were really cruel to the horses were the agencies that had money to take care of them, but didn't. So money is not the problem. Even more
No.
so, the more money goes around within the equestrian circles, the more cruel it seems to be often. So yeah, I think that's a good point of view to touch upon. Okay, well, let's see what the next question is here. Oh, that's an interesting one. So tell us about the way you work with horses, and what is most important to you? How did you come to this way of working? Who influenced you? Do you teach others your way of training? So tell us about that.
Okay, so like as I mentioned before, I'm my passion, my love affair of horses right now is enrichment. I love enrichment. I love games. I love making things for them to do. I love coming up with new ways to make their life happier. It makes me happier. And play-based training and positive reinforcement is like best. But I guess the way I came about this is really it's back it's Nike. It's back to Nike because like, you know, I never had any formal training. I didn't go to school to be a horse trainer. I didn't have horses my entire life. I just, you know, I love them. I've learned a lot about them. I've studied, but this is the first time. Here is my horse. I waited my whole life for him. Here he is. Oh my God, what's next? Like, what do I do with him now? And like,
It's like having a baby.
I know, like having a 600-kilogram baby with like no time to prepare. And, here's my life dream come true, standing in front of me and just full of trauma. And I didn't know where to start. And I honestly, I didn't even know if he was going to live. He was really bad off. But I had to do something for him. And before that, I'd only really ever known about like more traditional training methods, a little harsher negative reinforcement. And here, there's a lot of very like old school harsh trainings. That's all that was surrounding me. And like, I really, really quickly learned that that is not going to work for Nike at all. Like he's already shut down, and if you try to apply any pressure on him, he's done. He withdraw, he's out. And there's like, this isn't going to work. What are we going to do? And everyone around me is, of course, just hit him, do this, push him, kick him, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not me. Sorry, not happening. This guy's been through enough. So I just decided to stop everything. Stop. We are going to quit. Not quit horses. We're going to quit everything for this guy. No riding, no training, nothing. I'm going to ask him nothing until he's ready to come to me. And that's what we did. I went every day. I've seen him. I've had him 4 years now. I've seen him every day in the past 4 years. I never miss. I think maybe 10 times in 4 years I haven't seen him. But, I'd show up every morning and get him out of his stall because, like I said, there's no turnout. They live 24/7 in the stalls. And I would take him to the arena, which has kind of acted as our turnout zone, and just let him off, take off his halter and let him go. And all right, you go horse. I'm gonna just sit here. So I just go sit in the middle and let him do his thing. And that was it. We did that every day for months and months and months. And there comes a point you start thinking, God, my horse hates me. It's gonna hate me forever. But it's okay. It's fine. I'm not gonna give up on him. He can hate me if he wants, as long as he's happy. And so I want to say could have maybe 6 months. I sat there, just watched him. And then one day he just came up to me. I was just sitting on my little stool and he came up and he put his head in my hands and like in my lap. And oh, my heart just melted. It was done. It was the most like special moment in my life. I think like that was the change. That was the change in our relationship. And after that, it started going in the right direction. So, great. Now I've got a horse. He's ready. He's ready to accept me. And I need to protect this. This is precious, like I'm not going to go back. And what am I going to do? Chase him with a whip now? No way. He just opened his heart. Like, we need to find something else. And I'd never heard of positive reinforcement training at this point, like never. So I had to figure it out. And, I've got nobody here, so I'm on my own. And I started to just watch him. I want to watch him. I want to observe him. And I noticed that he's very loves to touch things with his mouth or explore. And I decided to buy a ball. And the ball was the opening. That was our opening that I needed because he loved that ball and he loved to play with it. And like I could just see his personality change, and he started to open up and get confidence, and he loved to like use his brain to solve some problems. And like it also changed me because I started thinking, gosh, there's so much more to these horses than we are giving them credit for. Like I knew they were smart and I knew they were special, but he's just showing me new things every day. So I became passionate about finding ways to incorporate play and force free into working with him and see what I could ask him to do through his own choice and through asking him cooperatively and not forcing it upon him. And then I started to do more research and I fell into positive reinforcement and I started learning. I'm like, oh, yes, this is it. These are my people. It's not just me. I'm not the only one out here. So, I started reaching out to people online and reading books and lots of books and taking any training course I could find. I think I started with the Willing Equine, her foundation course. That was wonderful. And Connection Training has some great stuff on their academy. And if I could find it online, I was doing it. I wanted to learn everything about this. And like there is like nothing like this in Korea. So everything had to come from abroad. And I met some like wonderful people and like very helpful. And I learned more. And I started mixing, what I was learning with the things we were already doing and kind of coming up with our own language. And, we've grown from there. And I just knew there was so much power in this because here I saw such an immediate and dramatic change in my horse, like night and day. This horse who was dead inside, dead in the eyes, and given up is now shiny eyes and full of life. And he hated people and rejected them. And now he cheerfully greets and is looking forward to working together. As long as you don't ask him to ride, everything else is fine. And like that was powerful. And like I started, looking around at all these other horses around me who are equally as shut down. And, if this can work for Nike, this can work for all of them. And that's kind of what like influenced me and got me to where I am now with training. And I don't directly teach anybody at this point, but, I try to upload videos of what we're doing. And I just want to show people that it's possible to have this kind of relationship with your horse. It's not some unattainable thing. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Like, we just have to learn how to like listen. And, you know, small changes are important. And I want to show people that they can make small changes and not have to rock their entire boat and make their horses' lives better step by step.
Yeah, I agree so much. People always think that they just have to give up everything they want to do with their horses. They are afraid that when they give their horses a choice, that the horse will then say no to everything. The
And
fact
they
that you think that is very sad to start with, because then you think that your horse doesn't like what you're doing. That is the first thing that I then think about. If you're afraid to give your horse choice, and then he says no, then you think he doesn't like what you're doing with him. So think about that to start with. And then secondly, as you say, you can do these very small changes and
it
start
doesn't
from there and see where it goes. And yeah, if people were have like 10% of your patience and courage, it would change everything overnight. I mean, it would open up so much.
you
So
just
I
do.
wanted to ask, when did you came across my work and my book?
I think it's just all jumbled in there at this point.
I know.
I know I've heard of your book in the past. I think on Facebook. I've seen like you post a lot in Facebook groups. And I bought the book more recently, finally. It's hard sometimes to get stuff here. But I finally found your book a couple months ago and I loved it because I was reading your book too. Like, yes, this is me. This is my mind. So like a lot of times I read like some of the pages. I can't quote any of them off the top of my head, of course, right now. But
You don't have to.
I'm reading your words and thinking like, oh, did I write this? This is my exactly my feeling. So, but I totally agree with you about the no thing. Like the thing is though, when you let them say their choice, they say no for a long time. Oh, they have a no period. You have to just ride that out. I wish people could know. Just ride it out. The yes will
Yeah, well,
come.
if they're traumatized, but if you have a good relationship with your horse, it doesn't have to be that way.
Mm.
But your first horse was extremely traumatized, but it doesn't go for all horses. People should know that. This was an extreme case.
It was extreme, but
Yeah.
you know, it's okay. They're allowed to say no. Like when they start to get that chance to show their opinion, they're like, "Oh, this is great." Even they like it. You want to eat this carrot? No. Haha, I want to eat this one over here. Like, okay, whatever. But
Yeah.
they get it. If you Nothing with horses is fast. Like everything takes time, and I think people lack patience, and we
Yeah.
want to see
Because
the
when you
tomorrow.
said 6 months, I was like, oh, that was fast.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. That's pretty
To me,
good.
that 6 months is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like we didn't go from 0 to 100 in 6 months, but we got to, I'll come out of my stall when you come. That was good improvement. And we're still working on it. It's been 4 years. We're still working on it. But, I got time. Where am I going?
Yeah, exactly. These things take time. I mean, I've had a horse that learned to piaffe and passage when he was 24. It
Oh,
took
wow.
me almost 20 years because he was such a rehab case. And when I rehab horses, their hooves or whatever, things take years. But I'm used to that. So to me, it's normal. And 6 months is like, whoa, that was fast. So, yeah. But I congratulate you and your patients because I often ask people, have you tried this or that? And they say, yeah, I did, but it didn't work. And then I say, well, how long did you try? Oh, well, 6 weeks. 6 weeks?
Wow.
That's nothing. With horses, that's like a second. You have to
Yesterday.
do things for a very long time and be patient. Yeah.
Yeah, and patience is not like a Korean virtue. They are, this country really wants fast, fast, fast. It's like part of the culture is Bali, 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 fast, fast, fast.
Yeah.
And everyone just told me to throw my horse in the trash. That, yeah, give me one. Let this one die. You just kill this one. We'll get you another one. I heard that so many times. Just let him die. Ah, he's too sick. He's too lazy. He's too stubborn. He's too stupid. Just let this one, just let him die. And we'll go, we'll bring you another one.
No, that's not just Korea. That's not just Korea. And
But
here they say it differently, like, wouldn't it be kinder to just let them go, you know? Wouldn't it be kinder? And I'm like, so everybody that goes through trauma just has to, move to the other side because that's kinder? What are you even saying? I mean, it blows my mind. Yeah.
so like Nike, he was born in the US and he came here. So like from the age of 1, this horse had been on an airplane, come to a new country, not a very good horse country, worked as a racehorse, not very well, and then ended up in a riding center and ended up starved and abused. And like in 5 years, 5 years. So what?
Yeah.
He should die. He doesn't deserve to live because of what? Because I can't ride him.
Yeah. Because he's been traumatized since very early age on, since he was a baby. And he doesn't even know what it is like to be a horse. Then you just have to die. I mean, come on, people. No, we're not going to
Everyone,
do that.
change the horse, get rid of this one. This one, like no one understands. I mean, I guess around the world, having a horse as a companion animal is still a new concept around the world. It's totally unheard of here. Like when people find out I do not ride him, they're, why? I mean, I know a lot of countries have this same reaction, but here it's just like done, you cannot compute, cannot process this. Like, how do you have a horse you don't ride? What do you do? You don't have to ride them. Like if he wants me to ride him, he will let me know. If he
Exactly.
doesn't, I don't care. Like if I never ride another horse in my life, I really don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a thing we have to get out. But I think it is changing everywhere. People see this more and more and are starting to accept it. That a horse is and can be a pet, and you don't have to ride him. Yeah, the fact that we have done for centuries because out of necessity doesn't mean we still have to do it. And I'm not against riding at all. I just
Same.
started riding myself again a bit because I want to get some different way of riding across. But if I don't get to ride, I also really don't care because yeah, you can do so much other things that I don't really
I
miss. Yeah.
I have more fun on the ground and like seeing them and looking how beautiful they are and seeing their eyes and having that
Yeah.
like connection time. Like I'm same. I have nothing against riding. If you want to ride your horse, that's fantastic. That's great. And I hope you can do it ethically and I hope you can do it with kindness and consideration to your horse. It's not a bicycle. But like if you don't want to ride your horse, what's wrong with that also? Like I'm still providing for him.
Yeah.
He has his needs. Like he doesn't need to have a job. He's already had a job. Like he doesn't need to have another job.
No.
No horse needs a job. They're not asking.
No, plus being a horse is a job.
Yes, they were
Yeah.
born to be a horse and hopefully not throw themselves through a fence or do something to injure themselves, which seems to be their full-time job.
Especially with off-the-track thoroughbreds is my experience. They just have no regard for their body, but that has probably to do with what they have endured since childhood.
No
So
spatial awareness.
no, that, yeah. But what you said,
None.
like the eye contact when you're doing what I call dressage in hand, or just playing together, just being together, and when they're proud of themselves and the eye contact and the way they look at you, that something so special about that that when I'm in the saddle, I miss.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I really get
Look,
that.
Mom, look, I did it. Is that
Yeah.
right? Right.
And there's something so special about eye contact because I see many people in the traditional and elite sport that really don't have any eye contact with their horses.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah.
never notice that? They're
Yep.
always doing things to the horse and with the horse, but they're not really doing things together with the horse.
Right.
And they're
Yeah.
not really have this sort of, they pat the horse and they talk to the horse, but you're never seeing the horse really engaging in eye contact with their human. N- Look at that, you'll see. Start to look.
Separation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And since a child, I always had that focus on that eye contact and that the horse looked at me and saw me and was interested in me. And if they weren't, then I would, like you said, just rephrase from, interacting with the horse because the horse there wasn't interested. But many people have no clue about that. And when that when they get aware of that, that is when things really start to change in my experience.
Exactly. Like, and they have such expressions,
Yeah.
expressive and beautiful, soulful eyes. Like, why wouldn't you want to look at that?
Yeah. Yeah. They're much
Oh,
like the same with dogs and cats and any animal really that you have a relationship with. And it's so funny that people don't see that. And but when they do see it, then is when things change in my experience. I'm
mhm.
going to see what my third question is here to make sure that
Mhm.
we get them all in. But I think we already covered that. The question was, what can you tell us about general horse welfare in South Korea? Are you working on changing things? And if so, how? So maybe a follow-up question would be, would it be possible for you to start like a Korean platform in which you could teach the way you took the courses from America and came across my book and so forth? Would it be possible for you to start teaching in Korea with a platform or something like that?
Yeah, that would be a dream come true. So I would love that. Actually, I think that would be great. It would be definitely a goal to work towards, just like us. I don't know how to start that, but I would love to like pursue that if possible. I think the biggest problem I have is the language barrier. Like, I cannot speak Korean well, but you know, someday I dream of, well, my big dream would be to have a sanctuary and an educational center and like, bring in horses who need homes and abused horses and give them a place to live and be happy as horses and to like show people like how sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. To like, show people how to interact with them. And my dream is to change people's perception of horses. Like I want people in Korea to be able to see that horses can be companions and there's more value to them than just on their backs. And like I would love to come up with some kind of like platform or course or something like that in the future. I definitely hope for that.
I think that artificial intelligence could help you with the language barrier because you have apps now that can not only give you great subtitles, but actually can mimic your voice and then
Oh,
let you talk in Korean. So maybe that would be a thing to do. Yeah, I think that maybe look into that. And I'm sort of experiencing getting things out and messages out. And yeah, we can always talk about that if you want to. And I will
yeah,
do whatever I can to help you to set that up and teach and get your message out. So yeah.
love that. Like primarily I use Instagram now. And I make these posts and I'm like, yay, look at this thing you can do. And I really, it's for anybody, but I'd like it to go to Korean audiences more, but it's in English. So it's like pass. I think it could be more effective in Korean.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, really look into for instance, ChatGPT.
Mhm.
It can translate things for you, and there are these apps that can give you like a voiceover or whatever. Actually, you look into that and maybe do your Instagram, make two of them, or make him Duolingual or something like that. I think that would really help you out to work more
Yeah.
locally.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that because I really, we have quite a decent following for Korea.
Hmm.
Um, Especially after we did the TV show,
Yeah.
everybody knows Nike. It still surprises me, like everybody knows Nike. And like, I've visited some horse shows recently and people, oh, Nike! Like just come talk to me like, oh, we saw you. We know Nike from Instagram or we love Nike. I'm like, Nike is a special boy, but he's not unique. I wish like everyone could have a Nike. Everyone could
Yeah.
do this with their horses. Like, and I want other people to realize that too. It's not just Nike because he's smart. It's Nike because I listen to him and I let him talk,
Exactly.
express. And we have so many horses here that could do the same. They could all talk to their owners or riders or whoever. Like they all, if we give them the chance, we don't give them a chance.
I think that could be like a starter's point, like some sort of a course in Korean, like create your own Nike.
Make a Nike.
Yeah, make your own Nike. And I think that that could be really open up things for you. So I would really suggest you look into that because we have the technology now and it's not
Yes.
that hard to use anymore at the moment. And yeah, think about that. I hope
I
I'm
was
giving
just
you some
thinking
ideas.
about idea.
Then there's the question four. What do you think is the most important thing horses need from us humans?
Mm, okay. Well, other than like the obvious is, the freedom, the friends, the forage, they need our compassion. They need our respect. And they need us to truly see them as individuals and the sentient beings that they are. Like, they're not just equipment, they're not just for our use. Their life is not for us. We treat it that way, right? We take and we take and we take and we take from them continuously throughout their lives, and very rarely do we give back. Or we don't give back enough. It's always what can the horse do for me, not what can I do for my horse.
Exactly.
And we need to change that. We need that mentality to change. Like as we said, there's nothing wrong with riding. There's nothing wrong with asking your horse to do something. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the sport and enjoying your horse. But like, you need to listen to them. You need to learn to listen to them and encourage them to be allowed to communicate. Like, there's so many horses that can talk to us, but we don't know how to talk back to them. We don't listen, so they don't try. Why would they? It never works. So we need to like open our minds to the possibility that they deserve this. They deserve this respect from us. We need to take accountability. And like, no one is perfect. We all made mistakes in the past. We're all going to make mistakes in the future, and that's okay. And it's okay to forgive ourselves for those past and present and future mistakes. We're human beings. We're not perfect. But horses need us to continue educating ourselves. And they need to like not just accepting that, well, that's just the way it is, like so many people just, well, it's always been done that way. What can I do? Or this is just how it is. It's not going to change. We owe it to them to try our best to change their lives. That's our job. That's our responsibility. And, radical changes may not be possible for everybody. And I think a lot of people are intimidated by that, like, oh, I need to have this perfect farm with this perfect pasture and paddock and everything for everyone. And, realistically, that's not possible for every person. But as I said before, even a small step in the right direction is better than standing still. Like, we cannot change everything, and we don't always have control over things, but we do have control over small steps. And, maybe you start simply just bring the horse an extra carrot this day, and then tomorrow you don't have a paddock, take him for a hand walk for a while, or just little things every day. It adds up. It matters to that horse. It matters to them. Like, maybe we can't save every horse in the world, but you can help one at a time. And to that one horse, that's everything. That's their life. That, like, that, it matters.
Yeah, the small thing matter. Just because you can't do the big things doesn't mean you shouldn't do the small things. I agree
Yes.
so much with that. And I know that a lot of people resent the fact that I'm always talking about freedom, friends forage, while they have their horse in livery and they feel like they have no control over that. But that doesn't mean that the message of freedom, friends forage is not legit. It just means that you at this moment have to start thinking creative, how to work more towards that. That's all we're asking. We're not telling you to get rid of your horse or rob a bank or something. We're just asking people to think about how to work with what you've got and make things better for your horse. That's all. And when you start thinking in possibilities, instead of obstacles and problems, things start to flow. And when you start doing that, other people start doing it. And, it gets the energy flowing and solutions present themselves and it gets better. And yeah, I'm so glad you are saying this because I think it will be inspirational for a lot of people and a lot of listeners. Audience will say, here, listen to this. Yeah, they know of people that have their horse always in the stable, but they feel like they have no control over it. Now listen to this. Yeah.
I mean,
And
I'm in a situation, like, honestly, in my brain, I have this dream for my horses. There are two of them now. They're multiplying already.
you put water on them after midnight.
Gosh, my bank says no. But, uh, you know, in my mind, I have this dream ideal for them, but in reality, I can't do that right now. It's impossible. It's impossible right now. But because the perfect lifestyle for them is impossible, doesn't mean I don't try my best to give them the best I can with what I have to work with. And there's no excuse not to try. Even
Exactly.
if it's not your own horse, there's no excuse not to try a little bit or something. There's things you can do. And that's what I hope I can show people. Like, I've had to get very creative. Like, in Korea, we're at a lovely place right now. I love my farm. I love the farm owner. I love it's great, but it's not a perfect place. There is no perfect place. Maybe in my dream world, there's a perfect place. But we have the best situation that we can possibly be in at this moment. Like they have outdoor space, they have a clean place, they have enough food, the man cares about them who owns the barn, but it's not my farm, and I don't own the land, and I cannot change everything. And I know in Korea, especially, horses are ridiculously expensive, like out of control expensive, like 2 to 3 times more than other countries. Basic things cost here. We have a very small country and no land. So everything's imported. So, owning a horse is kind of out of most people's reach. I make sacrifices to make it work because it's my dream, but that's not realistic for other people. So they usually just end up visiting horse centers and just riding their horses. But, maybe you can't control that life of that horse, but you can ask for some things, or you can try some different things, or just, maybe brush the horse more, take him for a walk. You're not powerless. And so, like, for me, currently, like I said, I have quite a bit of freedom where I'm at, but not 100% control. It's not my property. I'm boarding horse.
Mm-hmm.
But I work with what I've got, and I try to find creative ways to make the spaces work. So, for example, Nike's stall. I don't want him to be in a stall very often. He hates stalls. I don't have a choice about the nighttime stalling. Luckily, he has daytime outside. But in his stall, I try to provide lots of enrichment. I give him lots of toys and lots of puzzles, and he's got scent pads, everything, whatever can make him happy in there for the time he has to be. And when he's outside, I would love them to have group turnout, but our farm doesn't really allow it because he's afraid that the horses are going to kill each other. But,
I mean, they're like
so
lions.
yeah, we're trying, we're working on it to get the mentality changed there, but he does have an individual paddock. It's not quite, of course, it's not a big open field that I wish we had, but I use the space and I put different things in different corners, and I've got little obstacles in there and different things to move him around. So, it's not 20-acre field to roll around in, but he has things to stimulate him, not just stand still. And like you can do things like that. It doesn't take much. Or, you know, I set up these days I'm really into doing enrichment playgrounds, and I've been setting up for my horses out in the paddock, and it doesn't take much. You don't need fancy things. You don't need to buy stuff. I have some traffic cones. I have some milk crates. I have buckets. I have branches off of trees that I broke, some piles of leaves, some carrots, some hay bales, just scatter it around and let them go. It takes 15 minutes to set up, and they're happy for hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that, in Europe, there's also, we don't have a lot of room. I also have a very tiny farm. That's why I'm such a fan of these track systems. You can
Welcome.
make a very enriched place in uh, very small acres or hectare or whatever, and still have the horses very enriched and very much move around. I also have a very small place, so. And what I also say to people, buy my book or Jamie's book, Paddock Paradise, or this new book by Amy Dell about track systems. Buy that for the owner of your livery for Christmas or something, or the birthday. You never know what comes from it, and talk about it. And, because you're spending money. And of course, the owner can say, well, if you don't like it, you can always move. But you can talk about it, and maybe something happens or maybe it doesn't. But it can never hurt to, let
Yeah.
people know what's out there. And if they don't know, they don't know. And if they know, something is happening up here. So why not? I don't know if
Doesn't-
Jamie's Paddock Paradise is it's translated to Korean. And if not, maybe that's something you can look into, have books translated to Korean and then sell them here. Or, there's so much you can do to you can work with all the stuff that's already there. Maybe have it translated, or I don't know, but yeah, I think we could do the whole podcast on these ideas. But
Like that big problem in Korea, that is actually one of our big problems with the horse industry, is there is a huge lack of education because there is a huge lack of materials. Like the stuff doesn't get translated into Korean. It's not a huge language. Like you can find anything in English, whatever I want. I can close my eyes and grab, but it doesn't exist in Korean. So unless people can speak English pretty well, they don't have access to like modern materials, like the research and everything that's coming out these days. It doesn't get here.
no, so they're like we were in the 90s, for instance. But as I said, now with artificial intelligence, you can translate whole books, and then you would just need some people, like a group of people that would like take some chapters and say, yeah, I read them, I proofread them for you. And then you just offer them a book or maybe something else, I don't know. So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And you could start, set up a web shop, an online store, I don't know, and start distributing the information that is already there, and start up your own thing. I think that that could be a great starting point for you. Just bring Korea up to speed with all the stuff that is already out there in the English language. So
It's sad because like I truly don't believe that people are trying to do wrong. I don't think people are bad and they're not trying. They just don't know any better. They only know what they know. They only
exactly.
know what they've been taught. And there's big issues, but it's just out of ignorance usually. It's not out of evil.
I mean, if you see the development Korea made from how they treated dogs and cats to
Yes.
how
Recently.
they are treating them now, just by being educated about how sentient they are and what great pets and family members they can make. That it's like when I tell young people now about how dogs and cats were treated in Korea, they don't believe me.
No, like, I even in the past 15 years I've been here, when I first got here, dogs was like, oh, I mean, I have two dogs. They're not very big, and people think they're giant monsters. They're 9 kilos. They're like that big. But dogs weren't pets. They just didn't. And it's changed in the last decade. And dog meat just got illegalized like
Yeah,
a year
I
ago.
know. I
You
know.
know, that was
So
a big one.
exactly. I walk my cats. I don't leave them out on the street alone. I walk him on a leash and I have him in a stroller. I've been doing so for 10 years, and people were always saying that I'm crazy. But the people from Korea were the first to start doing that and making it more known. So
Oh,
I think they will be open to having horses as pets, and they want their own Nike. So I think if you can find a way to get the language barrier broken, then you're set. And then you're
yeah.
set. Because they will be open to that. I love the Korean people. I do.
A lot of people here looking for like people are starting to look for change. There is hope for the future here.
Absolutely.
Like it's a hot mess right now. I'm not gonna lie, it's a disaster. But I could talk for an hour about the state of the industry here. It's good. Like recently, even just now, there's a story coming out of, oh, I don't have all the specific details, but there's a huge abuse case. There's 23 horses left starving on this farm, just piles of poop everywhere, no food, just totally starved. Dead horses just dropped among the living ones. I think they had about 8 carcasses laying around. Oh, horror. Like, and that's just this week it's still going on. Like this stuff keeps happening. And then it was maybe 2 years ago. I don't know if this story got international, that they used a racehorse, an ex-racehorse for filming. They used them for filming dramas. And they, when they fall in the dramas and Korean shows, they're actually tripping them. Like they tie the rope and they trip them. And this one fell and broke its neck and died 5 days later. It's just, this stuff keeps happening.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
it's
just
stop.
Korea. It's not just Korea. The things with the horses being starved, the carcasses, it happens in Europe all the time, and often these are farms from rich people even. And the tripping, the horses tripping, they say they don't do that anymore in Hollywood and so forth, but it still happens because when you watch a movie and you see a horse fall, you see that often they are tripped. So it still happens. It's not just Korea.
Sure.
In the Western countries, it's, because I'm on top of the cruelty all the time. Don't ask me about my mental health, considering. So I'm telling you, it's not just Korea. It's the same everywhere. It's mind blowing, really. It is. Yeah. So not just where you are.
Racing industry is, ooh, you know,
I
we have a
worked in
big,
the racing industry when I was 16. I was a groom. I've been traumatized by what I've seen. It's incredible that people who profess to love horses support the racing industry in its current form. I'm not against racing horses, but we can do it in a way that is not against their health and a mental decline and physical decline. It could be adjusted very easily so. But in its current form, that people say that they love horses, but they get very angry if you say anything against racing here in Europe.
Mhm.
It's not just Korea. No, not at all. But
We
I
have a
think that the Koreans are very open to, having a pet as a family member now. So why not horses?
right. Let's get that. Like, so, one of our other issues is the thoroughbred waste. There's so much, like, there's thousands and thousands are retiring every year, and there's no homes for them. Like, most of them end up in slaughter, and the ones that don't end up, few are lucky, most are not. They end up in horrible situations, but like, they need homes. They need people to love them. They need places to go. Like, we need change. We need change.
Yes, yes, yes.
We
But
need
I think you are there for a reason, even though you are a foreigner. It doesn't matter where you are, it matters when you are, and you are there at the right time, and you are going to, Korea is a small country, and I'm pretty sure Nike and you will start to, make one hell of a yellow revolution in Korea. I have no doubt about it. And anything I can do to help, I'm there. So I'm not
hope.
like I'm powerful or anything, but all this, yeah, like we said, the small thing matters, and anything I can do, I will be there for you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
That's great. Okay. Let's see if we have some interesting questions that we haven't covered yet. So my question was, what do you think people need to change or realize most in general and in South Korea? But I think we covered that. Oh, here's an interesting one. Do you think the government could have a role in furthering general equal welfare? And if so, how? And how could the general public help with achieving this?
That's a big one. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The government must take an active role in protecting animals, not just horses, all the animals. But since we're talking about horses now, right? But like these days, it's like dogs and cats are the center and they're getting a lot more help, and that's fabulous. And I'm so happy to see that because I want all animals to stop suffering. Like I want them all to live happily. And I'm so happy to see the changes that have been going on here with like the dog meat industry and just the pet industry in general. And I hope, as we kind of said, I hope that this can extend to horses in some point. Like I feel like the horses end up getting stuck because they're considered livestock.
Yeah,
You know, there's different laws for livestock.
this same in Europe and the rest of the Western world at the moment.
It's strange because we treat a horse more like a pet than livestock, but we still govern them as livestock.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
I mean, it's strange to me. I don't understand that. So like I really think the government needs to make stronger punishments for like abuse situations, and they really need to start helping organizations that are trying to make a change or help these animals. Like in Korea, for example, like the horse industry is actually run by the government. It's run through a government agency, and they are also in charge of racing.
mm,
So there is so much money going through the racetracks and so much money going through this. But once they retire, there's nothing. There's no aftercare. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's a few attempts are starting, but they're mostly just for show at this point in time. They're still not, maybe they're coming, but not yet. And I don't know. There needs to be more. It's not acceptable, especially since racing, since horses are governed by the government. Exactly. Like the racing industry is run through the government. They take care of the horses while they're on the track, but once they're retired, it's bye-bye. We don't even have to register them. Like that's a huge thing. Like they just get lost.
Yeah.
Like they all have microchips, but they're not required to be registered. So like once they leave the track, we don't know where they are. You can look them up online and none of them are accurate. It's mind-blowing. Like my dog has better registration than my horse. My dog is required to be registered with the government and have microchip and all this, but my horse is like, nope, bye. It blows my mind when I think about it, actually. Like they're just thrown out like trash. I just think the government needs to do better. If they want to use horses to make money and as recreation, they need to do better to protect them in the other end. And as for the public, I think they just need to be better informed about issues. Like most people have no idea. Like, not everybody's a horse person.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea what's going on. And if they can be better informed, they can speak out. So, we have these things like these big news stories, like I'm telling you about, that they come out and everybody's outraged and oh, angry, angry, angry. And then 1 week later, it's like it never happened. So it's great that we're getting attention brought to these issues, and it's great that people are getting angry about it, but like it needs to have an outcome. Like it needs to keep going. Not just like, oh, this is very upsetting, and then next week I'm on to the next topic. So
Yeah.
we need education, we need awareness, we need welfare for everything to be brought front and center. And the government can help with that.
Is it possible in Korea to petition the government?
I believe so. I think so.
Yeah.
People do.
Maybe
Yeah.
it would be great if you had like contacts or maybe a political contact or an animal rights group or anything that could set something up with you. And then when there's this outrage again, that you could use that to yeah, get a petition up for asking the government to take care of the retired thoroughbreds to start with, and maybe change them from livestock to pets, at least when they're not racing. Yeah.
Yeah. And like we have some groups that have been doing great work and trying really hard, and they just don't have a lot of power yet. They need to have more authority. Like they can go and investigate these situations, but can't really do very much in the end. So someday,
Yeah.
I hope we're getting there. It's baby steps, but I believe in the people here, and I believe that they want to do good, and I believe that we're going to see changes. It just might not be as fast as we want to. Like, I honestly, I believe that the changes, we are not going to be the ones who make the changes. We have to touch the children's hearts. Like, we need children to fall in love with horses, and we need to start getting them hooked on horses at a young age because they are the ones who are going to continue the work. If they fall in love with them now, when they grow up, they're going to be the ones who don't want to put up with this anymore. So, like, we're already getting older. I'm not getting younger anymore. And I'm going to do the best I can while I can, but it's the next generation that's got to keep going for us. So changing kids' minds, I think, is really a critical step that we often overlook when we're thinking about welfare.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I wrote two children's books. And maybe you could write some, or maybe a design courses for children. That would be also much more easy with the language, I think. Um, And maybe you could ask the owner of the livery if you could maybe do courses for children or something. I'm just thinking out loud. And yeah, maybe we could have my children's book translated to Korean. Uh, because I do think that is very important. And I always think, when parents read to their kids, they are educated at the same time. So
Like I had this idea, I kind of wanted to make some kind of like Nike and Friends character, like cutesy character that does funny things, but also is like throwing some teaching in there at the same time.
exactly, that's what I mean, because you already have these cartoon characters of them and yourself. And maybe you could do like, reels or little stories and also have them printed that for the children. I think that would be a very, very good starters point. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was young, like, horse crazy kid, I had my briars, I had my books, I had everything. I was always drawing pictures or whatever. But, Saddle Club, I loved Saddle Club books. Read them, and I learned a lot of information in there. Like a lot of that's still stuck in your head. Like in the
Yeah,
middle of the one story, there's like some fact about, oh, you need to clean your horse's feet before you ride them. Oh, it's there. But like you can sneakily teach things that kids don't always know they're learning.
exactly. What you learn as a child, you never forget. For me, it was Black Beauty. And I think that's one of the things why I do what I do is what I read in Black Beauty. So yeah, and I think
Yeah,
if you can reach the children, then we also reach the parents. And you said baby step, but to a baby, a step is still a step, and a big baby step is a big baby step. So as long as it's moving forward, it's moving. I always have this saying that from nothing comes nothing, but from something always comes something. Even
I
if
love
it's
that.
small, it will do something. And what you said in the beginning, when you didn't find what you were looking for, I always have this saying where I said, don't seek tribe, seek truth, and your tribe will come.
Yes,
If
I
you're not
agree.
tribal, but you seek the truth, you will find your tribe. And
Yes,
else you
100.
get stuck with a tribe where you don't really belong. So that's my experience anyway. And I have to say, because of that, I meet these wonderful people all over the world for the last 30 years now, which includes you. We have some little time left, so I want to ask you specifically, um, what are your goals for the near future? What are you planning doing? And if there are things the audience can do to help you.
Well, big dream, as we talked, I would love having a sanctuary at some point. I'd love just to have a plot of land and make a paddock paradise as an example and let the horses come and live freely and keep working on education. But, for now, I just want to keep promoting horses and companions and showing how wonderful and amazing and intelligent they are and, working on touching the hearts of people and people who might not have ever considered a horse as something interesting to like fall in love with them. And I want to get more people involved in enrichment and making daily changes that they can, and knowing that, you know, they're what they're trying is not in vain. It doesn't matter if you're not perfect. Just keep trying. Just try. Every day try. Just a little something. It matters. And I hope that people can know that. And small changes, as we said, small changes. I want to see a happier future for Korea's horses and a happier future for the world's horses and all that. And, what people can do to help is just keep supporting, support everybody who's trying their best, support Yellow Horse Revolution, Nike and me, and all the others who are out there trying their best to make changes. Like, support us and work with us and try it yourself. Join us. Let's
Yeah,
make their life
join the
better.
revolution.
Revolution. That sounds really cheesy, but it's true. Like,
True. Yeah.
it really touches me when someone, I'll post a video of something and then someone posts a video, they tried it too. And like, that encourages me to try it more because sometimes I feel like I'm just wasting my time. I know I'm not, but we get those days where like, what am
Yeah,
I doing?
I
Why am I sitting?
understand.
this thing again, but then somebody sends a message and that changes my whole day, or I see somebody try something new, and I know even if they don't directly say it was because of us, I know that we had some influence there. So
Yeah, yeah. And these are things, just the things that you are aware of. And there's a lot of things going on that directly or indirectly is because of what you're doing. So I can tell you that you are making a huge difference already.
thank
And
you.
it will only grow. It will only grow. And just keep going at it. And, we cannot save the world, but we can be part of making a better world. And you are. And I'm so honored to have had you in my podcast. I am.
So honored to be here. It's so fun.
It was, yeah. So, is there anything else you would like to tell our audience? We have a little time left.
Love your horses. They're special. Every horse is special. Every single one of them. Just love them and cherish them and keep them
Keep
keep
them.
them close.
Yeah. I can't think of any message more beautiful and true than that. So, with that said, I'm going to thank you so much for being in this podcast. I know that the people will love hearing from Korea, from you, from Nike, and the new blonde god you have with you. Thank you for listening, guys, and catch you in the next one. Bye.